Since it's another international break, I thought I'd introduce myself to one or two of those who perhaps aren't that familiar with who I am or what I've done in the past. So let me start the story here. This is where I was born. Just behind me here is now a block of flats, and I think it's a Sainsbury's, but that used to be St Mary's Hospital in Manchester. That's where I was born. And you know what? Main Road, City's old ground, is just about a mile and a half in that direction. First and foremost, I'm a City supporter. Almost 50-50 split between home and away games, because ever since I was a teenager, I've been going to every game home and away. Over 1,000 games though now at home, split between Main Road and this place, the ETIHAD Stadium. As far as away games concerned, as I'm sitting here now at West Bromwich Albion, I've watched just under 1,000 Manchester City competitive first team away games. That's a lot of travelling, I can promise you. You know, I've travelled all over Europe watching City in all sorts of European competitions. And in fact, this vlog originated by me travelling in the summer of 2017 to the USA, where I started in Houston and then went to Los Angeles. So I've done a fair few miles on planes. I have, of course, driven by bus as well to away games. In the early days, I used to travel through Stockport Station an awful lot, because I used to travel on the train everywhere. The football specials, they were notorious back in the 1970s and 80s. And I became a steward, a volunteer steward, selling pies and sausage rolls, tins of drink, that sort of stuff, from what they called the cage on the back of the train. Great fun on those football specials. Got to know lots of people, including my best mate Charlie, who I still travel with to away games now. There are trams as well. I have travelled 2 games by the Manchester tram, like this one. In recent years though, most of the journeys have been by car, and mainly as the driver, up and down the roads of Great Britain. My first City game was actually here at Main Road. I know it doesn't look like a football stadium, but this is where Main Road used to be. That circle just behind me is where the centre spot used to be. And the first game was on the 15th of April, for me anyway, in 1970 against Schalke, the German team, in the European Cup Winners' Cup semi-final second leg. City won 5-1, and my mum was German. She was from Gelsenkirchen, actually, where Schalke are from. So as you can imagine, these days, Schalke are my second favourite team. But I can remember that night back in 1970 as if it was yesterday. I've not missed a game in European competition, any European competition, since the 1970s. The last game I missed, I remember it distinctly, was an away game at AC Milan. It was a game that got postponed and then moved to the following day because of fog. Long time ago, and the reason I missed it was because at that time I was at Manchester Polytechnic doing a degree, and I couldn't afford to come on the trip. So that's the last time I missed an actual European competitive game of Manchester City. I suppose you'd have to say that my broadcasting career started here at the Royal Oldham Hospital. Actually, down those steps was where the studios of the hospital radio station, Radio CAVELL, were. Looks a bit dingy down there these days, but that's where it all started for me. I did a programme every Sunday morning for 10 years, and of course from that, little acorns were grown, and on went the career in broadcasting professionally. It's hard to imagine that anything like this would happen these days, but back in the day when City were promoted at Bradford, Andy Hinchcliffe and David White actually came down at 9 o'clock the following morning to my studios down here to do a special programme with me. Can you imagine that today with Sergio and David Silva? In 1994, I applied for a job at the BBC to be a reporter, to be the City commentator ideally. The BBC used to be here on Oxford Road in Manchester, on the site just behind me, but it's gone now. It's been demolished and things have moved on. But this is where it all started for me at the BBC. My last couple of years as an employee of the BBC were here at Media City. I must say that working for the BBC was some of the happiest years of my life. I was really proud to work here, and I was the full-time Manchester City commentator. I had the privilege of holding the microphone at some great games. The 6-1 at Old Trafford, never forget that one. City absolutely battering United here at Old Trafford was a line that I enjoyed particularly. Also the semi-final, of course, at Wembley, the Newcastle game, on the way to winning the Premier League, but no better game than the 2012 commentary game when Sergio Aguero scored that goal, and I was describing that alongside Nigel Gleghorn, a former City player. Great times, very happy. The one thing I really miss from working for the BBC is actually commentating on the City games. That was the part of the job I enjoyed the most, and those commentaries were on the club's, that is City's club website as well. For 23 years this was my domain, been up on a gantry like this at West Bromwich Albion, been a commentator with the headphones on and the microphone in my hand, and actually been able to describe the action. That was the thing I loved the best about being a journalist, and being able to watch my team playing football, but also being able to share that passion, hopefully, with supporters who could listen to what I was saying. It's hard to picture exactly where it was these days, but somewhere behind me was where the old Main Road TV gantry used to be, where I did my early commentaries for the club video. I remember being up there for the commentary of the 5-1 against Manchester United, the 10-1 against Huddersfield, and many other memorable occasions, both as a spectator and a commentator. This is a place, a little bit different these days, but this is a place that has many happy memories for me. Off the field, one of the things that I really enjoyed doing was presenting the Junior Blues, which was the junior fan club for young supporters, and one of the venues, which is behind me, which is Manchester Central Library, has a theatre underneath. It was one of the places where I remember performing in the annual Junior Blues pantomime. The kids were the stars, but I was often in it as well. I can remember, for example, Shaun Wright-Phillips being in one of the pantos, where he played, well, whatever character it was, he had to reach for Aladdin's lamp, and obviously he was a little bit small. Very good times, I really enjoyed those. So in the summer of 2017, I actually left the BBC and moved here to XS Manchester, where I present Forever Blue on a Tuesday evening, which is a city-orientated programme. I also work alongside some of my heroes, like Sean Goulter, who's also commentated alongside me.
Well, yes, Ian, I tell you, in order to be successful in anything, you need a good partner, and you, by far, was a great partner for me. You helped me, you showed me the way, you made it, you set things up very easily for me, so you made commentary, or co-commentary, you made it seem very easy. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and hence why I'm here, linking up with you again.
Thank you. So now I'm going to give him the fiver that I promised him a little bit earlier. Thanks, Sean.
Pleasure, always.
I also write a column for the Manchester Evening News and appear on Talking City, which is their Facebook and social media site, which I normally post links of on Forever Blue on my Facebook site. I'm most at home here in the press box at the ETIHAD Stadium, but I'm also at home among the supporters, like these two.
We also subscribe to the blog.
So basically, whether it's in my city, Manchester, reporting on a Pep Guardiola press conference here at the CFA in the press room, watching an EDS under-18s or women's game here at the Academy Stadium. My passion always has been and always will be Manchester City. I've always felt very lucky to do what I do, to be in the places I've been to meet the people I've met. But yet, I also know I'm just an ordinary fan. My opinion is not worth any more than any other. Thanks very much for watching the vlogs that I do. I hope you enjoy them. If you do, then please share them, retweet them, and tell other people about them. But most of all, remember, the colour's always sky blue.